Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We have our May 2019 Hour to Empower webinar, and we'll be introducing our presenter here shortly. Wanted to draw attention to a couple of things before we get started. And we are going to ask that you type in some chat. Ray's going to ask you some questions here in a little bit. And if you find that chat box, there'll be an opportunity to provide some answers for Ray. And that will help Ray understand some of the feedback that you're providing, and that's appreciated. We also, at the end of this presentation, you'll have an opportunity to fill out a survey. So if you would take some time to do that, it's only 5 questions, and it helps us with planning for future presentations. For those of you looking to get a certificate for your CEUs, we will look to get you a copy of your certificate sent to you in your email within a week's time. We are excited as we're just over 2 years of being able to offer these webinars on a monthly basis, and thank you all for your continued support. And in 2018, we were able to reach almost 1,200 people through a webinar, including Ray. Ray joined us in November for a presentation, and we're really excited to bring him back for another presentation on language. And so, without further ado, let me introduce Ray Schultz. He's a certified peer mentor with Community Living Services, an ambassador with the Detroit Wayne Mental Health Authority, and an active member of his community. His life is a testament to the benefits of living a self-determined life and proof that, with the right supports, everyone is capable of living their best life. Please help me welcome Ray Schultz.
I want to say thank you, Ed. I wanted to say hello, Facebook, and hello to people to the webinar. And hopefully you'll learn something from me today. This is my life, and this is my passion. And it's very important that we talk about the language of hope. And I'll tell you a little bit about the language. First of all, I've been doing it at training with a lot of caregivers out there at Ratcliffe. Now we took it to the road where I went to the fire departments with it. Now we are here today putting it in the community. You know, and language affects us all. And there's negative language and there's positive language. And so let's go from there and start it off with, how do you? Yeah, so anyway, I want to start about that language and how my life, the reason why I'm so big about, and now let's talk about mental health too, because I know mental health wasn't, a lot of times people do talk about other stuff, but one important thing that people do forget is mental health. Mental health can affect us all of us, and we should be kind to one another. And it can affect us, for an example, don't be ashamed of mental health. You know, sometimes people might have diabetes, people might have other things going on in their life. Have an understanding of that. And if you need help, it's nothing wrong in asking for help. And so first of all, and let's go back to the history here. Back of the history when the institutions were way back. I want to talk a little bit about that today too, and the reason why I'm so passionate about language. I remember back in the day of the institutions, and we don't want to see the institution repeat itself again. I remember the days when language were, people are crazy, keep them locked up, they ain't gonna go anywhere. Well, when the institutions back then was like, people sometimes don't know what it's like, what's behind them walls. It was like a prison, and no one should be treated like that, nobody. And these from babies I'm growing up today. I was very fortunate that I had some very caring foster family. They came in there and took me out of there and loved me, and that's why I'm giving love back and helping people out today. Because, you know why? Because people helped me in my life, and we all have peers in our life. And that's why I'm out here today helping people. And let's go back, and mental health does matter. Like I just talked about that a little bit of it. So it's a picture of me going up there like 20 years ago. So, and let's talk about when I was a child and living at home, you know, it's just like starting up a ladder where like you've been robbed of your life. You know what? We prove people wrong about because I remember back then my next door neighbor said, them people over there are crazy. We don't want them in our neighborhood. Well, because back then people weren't educated. That's what it is. When people give, names like the R word, I don't want to say what it is, but retarded. I don't, just use it for this is a slang word. I've been labeled that, and that's why I want to change that language. We're not that. We're people. And I remember back in the day when I started meeting people into the community, people back then were educated. Like I said, let's talk about a story. I went to high school. I went to high school. I graduated from high school. I got a diploma. I started driver's education. I've been bullied during the years. I've been bullied in school, and I put a stop to it. Sometimes you have to put a stop to bullying so way you don't get bullied. I took a driver's education before, and I got bullied from 3 different people. Trying to say, you don't drive, you're crazy. You don't need a driver's license? No, no one should be treated that way. I remember back in the day where, let's talk about a little bit about the police. Police need to learn back then, the history. I remember back in then of the police, when I went to the police department to talk about, something that happened, and they just looked at me like I'm the victim. But back then, they weren't training about people with different abilities like they are nowadays. We're just spinning backwards of the old history. That's what I'm talking about right now. We're talking about the old history. I want to share some of that. Reason why in the 70s and 80s and 90s the language was pretty different back then. Police departments was different back then. I remember back in the day being into the community, been bullied by 3 girls, 16, 17 years old. I remember the day when one came at me and the neighbor said, "What are you picking on that guy for?" But you know what? I want to say one thing. I never involved my parents. I took care of it myself. I put a stop to it. I took the bottle away from this lady. 2 of them ran. But the bottom line of it all is, she said to me was, "I didn't know you." Well, what right did you have to do this to me? But to make the story short, because what I tell people, what comes around goes around. And something did happen to her, and it's a sad thing. So she apologized to me. So I accept her apologize. Can you change it? So, yeah. What do? I'm a certified community living services peer mentor. That's something positive here. So what that is helping other people out. Maybe someone doesn't know about community connections, for example. There's a gentleman right now I'm working with. He wants to learn to do a trade. So my job is trying to look for resources for him. So it makes my day when I learn when they learn from me and I learn from them. So, and we've had like 6 peer mentors at CLS right now. So they're all doing a good job too. So we got to give them a hand. So anyway, Ambassadors Program. So what that is, I know some people have heard about it, some people haven't heard about it. But I'm trained now as a certified ambassador. So what that is, talks about mental health in a positive way and getting rid of stigma. Putting stigma on the shelf. We don't need it. Because sometimes we don't want people to be ashamed. If you need help, that's what resources are there for. So what I want to read off here is what we do as an ambassadors out there. You can reach them out to the sidewalk. I've heard stories of groups, libraries, parades. Well, this weekend, I'm planning on going to both couple of things this weekend and talk about the, hand out some flyers for the ambassadors. Self-determination we cover. We have 14 ambassadors that got trained from all the way from recovery to the parents to people with DD. Person-centered planning, system transformation we talk about, substance use disorders, peer services they do offer there at DWMHA. Person first languages I'm very happy about. I was a part of that too when we put it together. People's first. Let's look at a person, not as their diagnoses. Shared decision making. So what they do is, they talk about decision making. It all depends on the ambassadors. Each ambassador has their own story to tell, their own story that helped them in their life. Like my story helped me in my life is about the days of the history of mental health, of the supports that I've gotten. And you know what? I am proud today that I am living a life today, driving the system. And I also wanted to say about me a little bit too. I'm on the consent voices of the authority, one of the leaderships of the chair group there, where people come and people sit on our board and people talk about stuff, what's going on with the authority and what's going on in the community. I'm also with a group, matter of fact, work group. What that is, I'm responsible as a chair, as an ambassador. We put this together as our group. And I was part of that, working on that ambassadors program. To learn more about this, check out their WMHAauthority.com, and it'll tell you a whole lot of different things. And there's stuff going on this weekend, like I said, I'm planning on going to. So a couple of things. I'm always on the go. And let's chat, definitely. Before I get there, let's chat about something. When we chat days, we hear years and years and years of language. Well, let me show you on camera. You take all this language and put it in the can. You label the cans, not the people. Because people don't know what I've been through. I don't know what you've been through. No one should be judged like that. So that's what it's about. And there's going to be some questions I'm going to ask you. I want you to think about it, and I want to hear from you. Can you think of any labels that people put on you? Let's wait a couple minutes and say, what has affected you in labels? Well, I want to hear your response first, and I'll say something about me. Anybody?
Yeah, we have someone responding already that they have been labeled to be bossy, controlling, too passionate.
Oh, too passionate. Wow, there's so many different, isn't there a whole lot of different type of language? Well, so
we have some more coming. Dumb jock, too emotional, uptight, anxious, controlling, loud.
Wow, that's a lot of different feedback on language. Yeah, language can, what I tell people and into the language, and what offenses me is when people judge me and don't even know me. I have someone one day just asked me what my diagnoses are, right in front of a whole group of people, and I got defensive. And that's when, and I felt like, people get labeled. So there is a whole bunch of different labels. So we try to put things in a better way, because what I say in these labels, try to, is what and how we say it. Because what we say can sometimes help and make it a little bit better. Because sometimes when people, body language can show a lot. It depends where you're at. You know, it depends on different situations. Could be in the police station. It could happen into the community out there to you. And sometimes when we have to think of something positively, maybe you can teach them and say, you know, I really didn't like how you treated me here today. Is there a better way? Can we say in the better word? So.
Got a few more, Ray, I think
Go ahead.
that are poignant for your question. One person writes, Kenneth writes, I have been called the R word, and when I was first diagnosed with autism, they said I would not talk, and now I am a well-known speaker. We also have Denise saying he or she must be off their meds as a label, and then someone else indicated argumentative towards coworkers when they don't understand. I'm just asking for solutions. So these are some more labels that people are.
See, some more labels. First of all, when that word "arg" was used, that was used on me before too. And you're a speaker now? That's awesome. I mean, I think that's great. And these other languages is what I'm listening to. And you know, I could share one of mine too. I was at an airport before. You heard of Bell people? Oh, today I was not having, that day I was not having a good day. I want to be left alone, but the person would not leave me alone. Just imagine how degrading I was felt at that day when someone called me a whole bunch of names from retardation. I don't want to, you know, I'm just saying it. That's the way it was when the system, crazy. Go take your meds. You don't need to be, you ain't gonna do anything. But then the bottom line of it, the person said he was sorry, but I said, I can't accept that. I don't know you. You don't know me. So, and here's another one. How did these labels make you feel? How did they make you feel? Bad? Hurt? Labels do hurt. Man, I remember the day, I want to share something with my friend because he's up in heaven. I hope he's got that Wi-Fi up there. But he was so close to me, and I can use this as a learning method that he taught me, and he stood up for me in my life. As he was kind of like a peer in my life. Well, you know what? He came up and told me that he was so hurt and he was just mad. You know, people do react differently. Right? Someone called you the R word into a church. Into a church. You got to be kidding me. I told him, oh, no way. He said, yeah, I stood up for you and I did something about it. You have the right to be in that church like anybody else. I said, well, thank you. And I wanted to share that story because I was thinking about that today, and it really means a lot to me when you got friends that out there that stand up for you, you know, and kind of make you feel like it helped me overcome some of this stuff is by saying, staying positively. So
Some of the responses that we're getting, Ray,
go ahead.
Frustrated, confused. They feel sad, hurt, troubled, inadequate, less than I am, not as good, second class.
Wow, that's really, that is really hurtful words, and it's, words do hurt, and I've been like, it can bring your self-esteem down. It brought mine down before, but I brought myself back up.
Well, and I think someone comments about that, Ray.
Okay.
Just as what you were saying, when you complain about your circumstances, you stay in your circumstances. So the idea of your advocacy or doing something about it is speaking to Sharon as for her comment.
Good, but shit, I hope I did. I hope I did help you out there, and yeah, words can bring you down. It brought me down before. But you know what? Let's talk a little bit about that in a second here. Someone's had me on the shoulder before. You know what they told me? Yeah, you're going to be a dishwasher. You ain't going to go nowhere. Well, let me tell you something. Let you think that way. But I am a speaker and I'm going to, it's my dream. So you go ahead and think about it all you want. So I'm a speaker.
Another comment,
Go ahead.
labels can make us feel different and less.
Yeah, labels can make you feel different and less. And what I try to do is trying to make it into a positive way. Do you have any examples of language that has changed for the better in the last 10 years? Oh, wow, 10 years. I can think of some. I want to hear from you.
While we wait for some of those responses, we have some other comments about how labels make us feel.
Okay.
Labels can make us feel unaccepted.
Yes, they can.
So with regard to the question that we have on the screen, Carol is letting us know we've gone from MR
Mm-hmm.
to IDD
Mm-hmm.
as one of the transitions in language. Consumer to friend.
Mm-hmm.
People first language, referring to those receiving services as people or friends. Asking for a person's preferred pronouns. All examples of ways in which we've improved over the last 10 years how we communicate, the language and the words that we communicate.
Well, I can see that it was getting better, and we still got work to do, getting better in the 10 years. And I was in the making of that too with the self-accuracy. And self-accuracy does matter, people. I wanted to share that too, to keep accuracy and keep speaking up about how can we make it better, not draw on the stigma, get rid of the stigma, and word different words like I'm hearing today is really good words, but we still got work to do on it and change it. People with ability. You know what? My phrase of the new word is, I have challenges, like we all do. I may not, Ed, you might know something that I don't know, and I might could teach you something that you didn't know. See, that's how we learn from other people on that.
Another example shared by Carol, we are allowed to use a preferred nickname rather than having to use someone's legal name. So if someone prefers to be referred to as their nickname, that's okay. Whereas maybe 10 years plus in some cultures, that was not okay. We had to use someone's legal name.
Well, that is okay now, because like I do with my nickname, I use nicknames are good to use. If you choose to, if someone called you that nickname.
Right, goes back to someone's
Goes
preference,
back,
right?
right, preference there. Do people who use wheelchairs need help all the time? That's a good question for people. Okay, who uses wheelchairs? Do you need help all the time? I'd like to hear your response, and I'm going to act on that one and advocate for it. Go ahead. See if anybody.
Yep, we're starting to get some, and we have a nice comment coming in from Ken. Just because a person has a disability does not mean they don't have any abilities. That's a quote from Dr. Temple Grandin.
Okay.
So right now, Ray, as far as this question goes, we're getting a lot of no. I think they need to have a sense of autonomy, to feel valued in life. No, but doors can be difficult. Just because someone's using a wheelchair doesn't mean they can't do it.
But people can do it. And then I'll tell you, people don't just sit in a chair. People are out there working, can move a chair. People want to be looked at as a person, not just in the chair. Don't talk to them at the chair, though. You talk to the person that uses the chair. For example, like some people have said, and I've seen it behind, you go around pulling somebody like this? No, ask first. Don't put your coat on their chair. Don't put your feet like you think it's furniture. People don't like that. People like to have their own space. And things I've been looking up now are getting better about people using wheelchairs, and I want to see it in a positive way.
Our friend Shanna makes a really good point. Shanna's joining us from Kansas City.
Awesome.
I find that people still think people are confined to a wheelchair when they actually just use a wheelchair. And the no, but people also with walkers can sometimes need help, especially with doors. That's coming from Amy. And Candace shares, give them the tools to be as independent as they so choose.
That's right, as so they choose. Give them the tools that they can use. And this is good for all of us, you know, to work, you know, help people better into their, and listen to them, because that's what it's all about. Even the fire departments, because sometimes, you know, talk to them. Don't talk to someone else. Talk to them. It's about them. If they can do it and they can speak for themselves, they should be the ones to do it, unless they ask for an assistant. Okay, language of hope. Here we go. Connections. Build friendships. Opportunities. And my biggest thing is respect. Self-worth. Dignity. And you know what? Dignity goes a long ways. It's because dignity is give me an example of dignity, Ed. You know,
Talking to someone respectfully.
just talk to someone respectfully. That's what it's about. And you want to feel self-worth. You know what? I do feel self-worth. Because I remember years ago, like I said, I always back then wanted to, you know, with the language way it was, but you know, when you walk into a police department, for an example, they should treat you as a person and listen to you. There's always two sides of the story. But let me show you that picture up there. The police chief in Wayne. And down the road, I'm doing the ambassadors program out there in the city of Wayne sometime this summer. And it's nice to have, you can build relationships, working relationships with people. Like I have another picture up there is Jan from Evenings of Friends, which CLS does every year of the awards banquets for people that get recognized for all the good things that they do. And it's really a good benefit. I love it. Then my friends up there, you know what? I look at friends as my family. I mean, I have a real family out there, but my friends mean a lot to me. This lady here, I've known her for years. And I just saw her at the annual BWMHA, the authorities luncheon. And it's good to run into somebody you have not seen in years. And she said, Ray, I want to say one thing to you. Look at you now. You are really helping people out there. You're in the community. Keep up the good work. You know, it's always good to tell somebody how they're doing, to let people know. It makes them feel good. I usually tell the police department or the fire department, who are the mayor or somebody in the community, you're doing a good job, because people want to be recognized too, you know, and it helps to serve people better. And even the city of Westland, you know, sometimes people tell me, you know what, Westland, hold the door for me. Wow, that's good respect. I like to hear stuff like that. That's what we call community connections. I had an officer in Westland before told me, keep up the good work, Ray, what you're doing out there too, helping people. And I tell him, you keep up the good work, because you know what I say, these, you know, they put their lives out there for you, and and sometimes they don't get recognized. And they need to be recognized. Not always hearing the bad things. Let's hear some good stuff about them, which I think is great. So, next slide. Person-centered language is using words that respects a person. Calling people by their name, not by their diagnosis. Recognize a person's abilities. Focus on the person's strengths. The language, that's why we call it the language of hope. Like, don't look at a person with their diagnosis. I'm not talking about my diagnosis into a classroom or in the community. I'm talking about Ray. I'm also sitting on the board of the Disability Concern Board, chair with six people. And everybody at that table has something to share with their abilities, disabilities. But we're calling awareness, you know, we are the Disability Concern Group Advisory Group, which is, you know, which I think is great. So it's a wonderful thing to reach out in the community. Who uses person-centered language? You know what? On these two pictures here, we all do. That's Andre there, works at Community Living Services, co-friend, peer mentor. His friends over there, and you know, group of friends right there. So it's always good to, you know, some people on there that I work with have. So that's awesome. So they keep up the good work too. So what person-centered thinking is, what other discovers your interests, looks at your strengths, think about your talents, develop your gifts, build your reputation. Well, I'll tell you how I built that reputation during all the years of 80s, 90s, and now. Let's go to now, which is awesome. Develop your gifts, build your reputation, strengthen your community. What I mean by strengthening the community is going out there and making a difference. Like, you have the much to be in the community and anybody else too. We all need to work together. So I feel good to be out in the community and have connections, like with the police department, fire department, libraries, reach out to the restaurants. It's nice. So, and believe me, sometimes when you're not there, people miss you, because you know why? Because people recognize you when you're in the community and you're missed. All right, I haven't seen you here in a while. That makes me feel good when someone recognizes you.
Well, Ray, your timing is perfect. We had a comment as you were saying
Okay.
that creating opportunities for meaningful relationships so our friends can be known, noticed, and missed.
Yes,
To your point.
I got right to the point there. Awesome. Like I was saying, right to the point. So, and you can write your comments down too when I'm doing this. This is awesome. Why use person-centered language? Because you know why we use person-centered language? To change the system. To change it where we are people driven, not as a label. What we say influences what we think, right? When we use people's first language, we send in messages, respect, and hope. You know what I tell people sometimes too? Have patience. Patience is with me, because sometimes I ask for that. I may not know something, I'll ask you a question, but don't get mad at me over the phone, or if I'm at a doctor's office, for an example. There's one time, you know, someone got mad at me, and I said, oh, okay. So you're gonna make me feel like a label here? I'm out of here. So I end up picking a different doctor. People have choices nowadays. So you can go out and do your business like in a restaurant. You're not treated fairly, move on. Because you're bringing business to them. And also, you should be treated with respect. No matter where we go, respect is the bottom line of it all. Small attitude changes languages, doesn't it? Makes a big difference. Show patience, exactly what I was saying. Patience can go a long ways. So, all right. Where is it important to use person-centered language? Well, even mental health needs it. Definitely need it. Definitely need. We're getting there. We've got changes to do with them. Yep. Definitely. We want the people to be as members. You know what I'm saying? Look as a person. You know, treated with not a consumer. I'm not a consumer walking into a mental health office. I'm a person. In the community, I'm a person. Secretary of States they need people's first language, because everybody's not the same. When you ask a question, you should be able to answer it for you. I may not have the answer. They should have the answer for me. Because sometimes when they want you to do something, if you haven't done it before, don't get mad at a person because they ask you a question. Texting, teaching children, for an example. I talk at a youth group assistance program where that's second chance. People might have their grades down. People might have been in trouble with the law. People have been in jail before. They are speakers too. They share their story. They are reworking again into the community and talk about their story. Mine was not, I didn't break the law, I said. Mine was from the institution. And I want people to know that. Now I'll tell you something. I open up a lot of eyes and I really make people think. And sometimes there's people that walked out of there and they cried. Because sometimes they say, you really made my day, Reagan. I didn't even know that. By me talking to you, I didn't know you experienced that type of life. But like I say to people, sometimes I said thank you. But sometimes people don't know what a person's been through. So, okay. And mental health, of course, in the community is definitely Secretary of State, like I said, definitely in the grocery store too. Church needs it. Definitely need people's first language in there. And ambassadors. Ambassadors talking about services for people. Everybody is welcome. Exactly the way I look at it in these churches. No one should be segregated.
Ray, Denise brings up a point when you were talking about the community. We need ways to help people know when you don't agree with their language and help them understand a more compassionate point of view. For example, she has a friend with MS who was told by someone else she can't park in a handicap spot. And then also someone else, a stranger, had said something to her about pointing out that someone's a real quote unquote nut job. So the idea of being an ambassador, taking those moments that we all come across in life and how to be confident in being able to relay a message where the person walks away having a better understanding. Could you comment on that, Ray?
Yeah. So you want a person to have a better understanding of that. And they shouldn't have been labeled like that, first of all. And first of all, you don't want to feel like, wow, what they said, and it puts a downfall on it. Well, that's what we're there for, trying to bring people up, not bring them down. So what the ambassadors do is we do like a resource, give you like information and stuff, and try to, even talk to you about if you want a person wants a, it all depends on the situation. Maybe I might share something with them that I might experience before, might help shed the light. So, okay. Example of person-centered language. Well, this is the language we don't want to say and language we have now. Don't say, let's say girl. Oh, is that the word I said, right? He's confronted as a wheelchair user, handicap parking, disabilities, disabled guy. No, say she's a person with autism. He or she uses a wheelchair. Acceptable parking. Learning challenges, like I said. I am learning challenges. We all, everyone has challenges in their life. And you know what? We learn from them challenges. And you know what? With my challenges, I can help someone else with it and they can help me. And that's the way I look at it. He's a person with Down syndrome. Well, I think he's a little more better words than the old 60 language they were using. So, and I know there's a lot more language than that we were talking about today. And the bottom line of it is respect. So that's what the bottom line of it is. Let's respect the person, And how do we begin the person-centered language? By put the person first. Like, don't put the person with their disability. Put the persons first. Person wants to be looked at as a person. Think differently. So we all want to think differently. It depends on the situation. Spread the message. And spread the message is My mission is, I hope you learned something from me today, is hope giving. And my story. And it says, labels are soup cans, not for people. And that's right. One more time again, like I said, let's put the labels onto the cans. And let's try the words I was hearing today from people. Let's put them in here. Scrap them, shred them, get rid of them. Let's use some new words. So, all right. A language of hope. Language of hope is co-worker, friend. This is you, co-worker, friend, student, a neighbor. You know what? It's nice that my neighbors where I live in a house right now. I love it. I live a self-determined life. You know, it feels good to go to work, come home, throw your feet up, a long day, go in the community, get involved. You know, it really makes my day is hearing other people's stories. I love it. And I feel like, you know, I'm helping people. Family member, community member, partner, you know, homeowner. And you could be a home renter. It's like a home. You feel like you're the owner of it. So anyway, I have 2 roommates, you know, and sometimes everyone has disagreements, and that's what it's about. You know, we work it out. So anyway, what else can we do? Send the message of hope. Build partnerships in your community. So, hey, try to build partnerships in your community, friends. It could be from anywhere, from the library to city council to outings like parks. A lot of times, you know, I might go to the police or the mayor's thing they do once a year. It's nice to get connected with people. Stand together, become a part of the solution. So we all need to stand there. And these pictures are with a Congress lady. She's awesome. All right. The picture of me is spirit of hope, spirit giving. That's for the Youth Group Assistance Program. And I'll tell you something, I really put tears in my eyes that day because, you know, it feels good when you're recognized from people that you are doing a difference out there. And me, I remember back in the day with the stick, the picture up there. And I look like a teacher, I guess, up there. Anyway, it's Ray again. So my message is, if I can do it, you can do it. But you know, we all need support. You're not alone. Annual internet resources. You can Google to find Bandy R Word, www, R Word, People's First Language. It's underneath there. People, I think, hope y'all can see that. Recovery, Hope Givers, Community Living Services, a broadband from autism to different ability challenges. So, anyone have any questions for me?
We have some comments.
Or comments? I want to hear your feedback.
Yeah, if there's any questions for Ray, please feel free to type them in the chat box. We have a comment. Don't assume that all people with the same label are the same. That's coming from Kenneth, who is also, interestingly, a part of the Raleigh Citizens Police Academy in North Carolina.
Wow.
And part of that academy is they have people who want to learn about the police department, and he's involved with policy and post-secondary education. And later tonight, he will be riding along in the police car. So he's going to be a valuable resource for the police academy in Raleigh and teaching about abilities and disabilities and helping them become more user-friendly in terms of interacting with people in the community. So thank you, Kenneth, for the work you're doing. Ray,
well, thank you, Kenneth. I'm going to, hey, use this tools. I love it. We need it for the police academies. We need it for the police departments. We need it for the fire departments. It's very, this is passionate to me. And I'd like to see that. this is great news. I want something positive because, you know, sometime on the news you get some really negative stuff about what the police have done to people. We want to have a better understanding with people, all different people with challenges. Someone might meet special needs, you know, they need help to have a better understanding. Like I said to the police, talk to the people. That's what's important, you know.
Candace has a question, right?
Okay.
How do you assist folks to understand and use their person-centered plans to get what they need and want?
How can we to advocate, or sometimes, you know, too, I don't know, a lot of places now where our agency does, we have people with peer mentors. A lot of times peer mentors will sit in a person-centered plan with the person and help them advocate too, if they want someone to advocate for them. So
We have Andre, who's joining us from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, from Valoran Solutions team, which we've had some partnership with. So hello, Andre, Michelle. We have a question. Is it possible to have those websites sent to us after the webinar? So I'll answer that for everybody. We will gladly send a copy of Ray's PowerPoint in a PDF so that you can have those resources sent to you also. And also, Andre Michelle is saying, I just wanted to say thank you for this webinar. Me and my team were all here to listen, and it was amazing, Ray. So this is coming from John. While I believe that it is taking far too long, it is readily apparent that people are becoming increasingly better educated, and I see it in small doses daily. Well said, John.
well said. I really like that. We are getting there in small, and you know what? If other advocates keep doing what they're doing and making changes like this, we are getting there. I've seen the police departments, they want to hear from us. They do. I mean, Westland, they want to hear from people. They really do. In Wayne, Garden City.
Carol from Northern Lakes. Hi, Carol. Always focusing on the individual person and who they are. She's saying that's the most important.
The most important is about the person and who they are.
We have a question coming from our local studio audience
Okay.
here, Kim.
Hi, Ray, and wonderful presentation. Do you have any advice? Oftentimes people use the wrong language, not to be intentionally unkind, but just they don't know yet. Do you have suggestions for people when someone uses maybe language that isn't respectful or isn't person-centered? How can we give them the right language without, you know, embarrassing them that they got it wrong?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Which I've done, I'm getting better at it myself, and I remember the days when I used to call it out. But now, I'm being honest about it at least, you know. What I do now is I go to the person after the thing is over with and talk to them about it. How can we make it better? I know you have good intentions about it, but I do ask other trainers too that do, you know, that work with people with challenges to talk to the person on the side. Because, you know, embarrassing is not a good feeling when someone calls you out. So it's not.
We have some comments coming in also. It was good to be reminded of people in all aspects of life. This has been an excellent and very educational experience. That coming from Rich. Thank you. This presentation was amazing. Joshua up in El Saba Valley. Hi, Joshua.
Hello there, Joshua.
Brett is saying, keep up the good work, Ray. And Kenneth is saying, this was wonderful, Ray, and thank you. Keep up the good work. Kenneth coming from North Carolina.
Well, thank you. What I want to do is travel one day to some of these states. I know there's institutions in them, and I would love to do my story. And if one of you want me to ever do a presentation at a conference, please take my name, and Ed will send it to you.
Absolutely. Just as Ray stated, if you guys are interested in having Ray do a presentation, please communicate with us, and we'll help try to arrange that. Some more comments coming in from Tina. Great presentation, Ray. Donna saying thank you, helpful information. And Candace, thank you for sharing your story, Ray. You are a great speaker. And Peggy, all the way from the Upper Peninsula. Saying,
Wow.
Thank you, Ray.
And I just want to
Great
add
presentation.
something too. There's going to be a couple conferences going on this year. One's happening in August, MORC. Me and Andre is doing a presentation. Me and Emma, from her walks of life to my walks of life of the history, are going to be at a peer conference up in Lansing next week. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I'll tell you, I want to say to all you people, I want to say thank you. It's very touching. I love speaking, and I even thank my friends, even the Lord's, giving me the resources and helping other people. I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you, Ray. That brings to a conclusion our webinar presentation today, and thank you so much, Ray. It was obviously from the feedback, we've got a lot of people who were impacted by your message. As Ray stated, we are hosting our 8th annual Culture of Gentleness Conference. We're going to have 20 presentations, 2 keynote speakers, and as Ray stated, we're looking forward to the opportunity to continue this message, this important message, including what Ray was talking about today. How do we create a culture of gentleness for those we serve and for our workforce? It's incredibly important for us to work together on all of that. So we look forward to any partnerships, any communications that you might have with us that will help you achieve what it is we're trying to achieve. We're always a training resource for you, and we would look to try to help you with what it is that you're trying to accomplish in your organization.
I also want to add something too. Can you give them my email address? I'd love to hear from you people. Write me at let me give it out online, SCHUHOL@COMLIVSERV.com. I would love to hear your feedback.
And in the follow-up communications to everybody in the webinar, I'll make sure you guys get Ray's email along with some information about our conference. I sent in the chat link a link to be able to get more information about our conference. Phoebe up in Lansing is saying, please share where you will be. So if you're doing some presentations, Ray, I'll recommend Phoebe and anyone else wanting to know where you'll be speaking at, and you can communicate directly with them.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, do that, Ed. Yeah. Communicate with them. If you want to know where I'm going to be at, that'd be awesome. And I hope you could come down and see me do it live. That would be great. And anyway, and also I just want to let people know, I am going to be going out into the community. I am reaching out to what I'm going to be doing this summer. I want to share. I'm reaching out to the city councils, Garden City, Livonia, Dearborn Heights, which I was at Dearborn Heights already, sharing my messages of respect and hope, and the Ambassador Ray here, and mental health. And I really am happy that you all were here today to hear my story, and hopefully you can learn from it and listen to other people too and help them out. I want to say thank you.
We have a question. Would you consider traveling north to speak at a council meeting? I guess that might depend on how far north, but I think Candace is joining us from the Lower Peninsula. So Candace, I'll ask you to be able to communicate directly with Ray on that, and he'll be able to get back with you on his ability to present. We also had this presentation on Ray's personal Facebook page, and also Mork, our Facebook page. So this presentation was taking place on Facebook Live.
Yeah, let me give you my Facebook page if you want who's interested in being my friend. It's called Go Peer Ray Schuholz, SCHUHOLZ. Add me on the Facebook page, and you can follow me that way too when I'm doing, because I do a lot of community involvements on there.
Okay, so that adds one more thing we'll be sending to you, which is Ray's Facebook address, our own Facebook address, the email address to reach Ray, and also a copy of the PowerPoint. And great job, Ray. I'm very proud of you. That's from Tasha Green, who's a councilwoman in
Awesome.
Westland.
All right. Hey, Green, how you doing? Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate your attendance today, and let us know if we can help you in other ways or Ray. Thank you very much.
I want to say thank you to my friends on Facebook here, and I hope you all learned something from me today. Please write me your comments and what you learned from me today. I want to say thank you.